This is Europe now, in 2016. This is the map of Europe that most Europeans are familiar with, and the map of Europe that seems normal. This is what Europe is supposed to be. But Europe hasn't even looked like this for 10 years yet. Its borders have constantly been changing, and this is no less true now than it was 100 years ago. I'm Adam, and in this video, I'm going to redraw this map of Europe back to the way it looked in 1933. 1933 is the year when the Nazis took power in Germany, which ended up causing the Second World War, which in turn profoundly redrew the map of Europe once again. The map of 1933 can thus be said to represent the so-called interwar period, before Europe got thrown into the political turbulence preceding yet another devastating war. And this is the map of Europe that we're going to recreate here. Alright, the first thing that we're going to change is up north, in Iceland. In 1933, Iceland was still part of the Danish realm, even though it did enjoy significant self-rule. Now let's move east, to Finland. In 1933, Finland hadn't yet lost its eastern territories to Russia. And the same thing goes for eastern Estonia, where the border has also been moved westwards. And again, the same thing goes for eastern Latvia. Next up, we're going to give Russia a more fitting color. At this time, Russia was still called the Soviet Union, sporting a rather different set of insignia. This state was also quite a bit larger than Russia is today, including present-day Kazakhstan, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, the eastern half of Belarus, and most of Ukraine. This was the shape of the Soviet Union in 1933. To the southwest of the Soviet Union, we have Romania. This country was a fair bit larger at this time, including Moldova, parts of Ukraine, and a little piece of Bulgaria. And by doing these changes, both Romania and Bulgaria have their 1933 borders. Moving along to the Middle East, where the province of Hatay isn't Turkish at all, but rather belongs to Syria. Although, Syria, together with Lebanon, in turn belonged to France under a League of Nations mandate. The same thing goes for Israel and Palestine, which together formed a British mandate. Jordan was a British protectorate, meaning it had significant autonomy but was formally under British rule. It also had a slightly different border against Saudi Arabia. In the Mediterranean, Cyprus belonged to the United Kingdom. West of Cyprus, we find the group of islands known as the Dodecanese. In 1933, these islands belonged to Italy. Further west, we have Malta, which also belongs to the United Kingdom. In North Africa, Tunisia is French. So is Algeria, and most of Morocco. The remaining northern part is Spanish. Okay, getting back to Europe. In this area, Italy stretches further east and down the Adriatic coast. To its east, we're going to create a new country, consisting of Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, and Macedonia. I'm talking, of course, of Yugoslavia. To the north of this country, we're going to create yet another new state by merging Slovakia into the Czech Republic. To this, we add a piece of western Ukraine. The name of this state is quite simple: Czechoslovakia. Next up, we're moving west. In this area, we're also creating a new little entity. This place is the Saar territory, which was a special territory under League of Nations protection, militarily and economically integrated with France. Then, we're going to the Baltic Coast, where we have yet another League of Nations territory. This was the free city of Danzig, which had a semi-autonomous home rule, but was also economically integrated with Poland. And east of Danzig, we need to enlarge the Russian exclave that did not make part of the Soviet Union. This territory instead belonged to Germany, as did the western part of present-day Poland. Poland, on the other hand, expands in the other direction by including the western parts of Belarus and Ukraine. And finally, we have to adjust Poland's border to the north by making Lithuania just a little bit smaller. There, we're done. This is Europe, 1933, before the events preceding the Second World War. It's fairly recognizable, but still so much has changed. In fact, the only countries that we haven't changed at all are these ones, and this is only 83 years back in time, meaning that there are several million Europeans still alive who were born when Europe looked like this. Think about that for a second. For a better overview, let's compare our two maps. States and countries have always been changing their shapes, and it's useful to remember this, both as a reminder of how changeable the world can be, but also in order to better understand what happened in the past. Because in order to understand the past, we need to see the world as it was, as they saw it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos about the geographical history of Europe and the rest of the world.